It says on the outside, Chang's all-you-can-eat buffet. Keyword, all-you-can-eat. I'm not fucking leaving. Woo! Not fucking leaving, Chang.
Oh, you eat too many egg roll. You leave.
Did you count all the egg rolls?
Yes.
All the legal egg rolls?
Fuck you, Tucker Carlson wannabe. Hey.
Welcome to the Tucker Carlson. Sorry. Dreams. Welcome to the BenBen Show. I'm your host, BenBen. We have a great show lined up for you. A lot of election stuff has happened. Oh my goodness, or hasn't happened because it's not over yet, I guess. Count. Deny. Hey. That's no good. Segregated. Hey, don't change the damn that ballot. All this stuff we'll get to in this episode. But first, a word from our sponsors. This episode of the BenBen Show is sponsored by COVID Christmas. The holidays are fast approaching. Have you picked out something for that special someone? Some arms and some legs, perhaps. Nice job on that choice, Sebastian. That's a great photo op. What the fuck are you? Go get me some coffee. Get me another one of these C4s. C4s. Not a sponsor, but I'll take your money. Also by, has your mom abandoned your family? Has she run away with cancer? Women's National Breast Cancer Foundation sponsor the show. Great to have them on board. Oh my goodness, that's so good. That's such a good cause. I'm so glad that they're here. Women, the breasts. I don't want. Remember when Angelina Jolie chopped those things off Sebastian necessarily, just like right off the bat? Oh, she said she might get it because of a genetic test. She might get cancer. Chop them off now so she doesn't accidentally have a metastasized issue that becomes of a systemic, multiple tumors in different places. Not that she couldn't just get tested all the time. I mean, how fast do they metastasize? She just chopped those babies off, put some double D's in there. I don't know, I think that's kind of crazy. Actually, I don't know what cup size she has. I always think it's important, whenever you do that, whenever you get them augmented, you always want to make sure the areola placement is also augmented. Ladies, I cannot stress this enough. Areola placement is absolutely important. You don't want to have these magnificent silicone saline specimens propping things up or having a nice ski slope, the teardrop, but then the areola, the nip, is just out of place. You don't want it pointing straight ahead. You kind of want it saying, hi. Yeah, that's my aesthetic if I was a doctor. Could be. Yeah, I'm handsome enough to go on TV. New segment of the show. It's called Question of the Day. I like to get some interaction between you guys in the comments section. Question of the day. It comes to me. I don't know what it is. I really don't know everything about general facts of the world. And Google, I don't trust it. How can you? They're augmenting the searches. They talked about how during the election, all these searches that were more conservative just dropped off in May. Just disappeared. March, They started dropping off 6 months before the election. Creepy. Can't trust them. So I ask you, do yarmulkes come in different sizes? Ben Shapiro has. Okay, so we have to go. So get this. And then someone like Al Brooks, just huge fucking head, an afro. They gotta shop at a different yarmulke store, no? He goes to the Colonial Doll, American Doll section to get his, and Al Brooks goes to I don't know, the Magnum XL section of the doily hats? I don't know. But if that comes across as anti-Semitic, I apologize. Didn't mean it to be. Just let me know in the comments section. I really, truly want to know. I have a lot of Jewish friends. I don't know what the fuck to get them for Hanukkah. Do I have to get them 8 things? The fuck? Fuck that. So, I don't know. One thing, nice yarmulke, maybe a Redskins yarmulke. Is that weird? Or a Washington football team yarmulke? I don't know. Something. So Trump is putting up a fight. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't if they were him? The mainstream media has called Rudy Giuliani's evidence of voter fraud unsubstantiated, which of course any evidence is before it's ruled on in court. It's kind of the way it works. Like, what does that mean? The election's unsubstantiated. We really don't know, because the way it works is the media doesn't choose the president. It's the Electoral College. It's the state legislature. It's not the governor of Pennsylvania, for example. There's a lot of weird things. I did that thing with my finger where I let it slide and it goes all the way down my nose. I hate that. I hate that. The allegations Rudolph the Red-Nosed Giuliani has said are quite staggering. Let's take a look.
Well, after filing the lawsuit yesterday in Pennsylvania, which supported by 50 plus witnesses that say that Republicans were excluded from observing over 600,000 questionable ballots in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, and only in those two Democrat corrupt cities, really. Rest of Pennsylvania, no problem. We think we have a good chance, also when you consider the additional allegations of fraud there, to have that vote overturned and not certified.
Well,
I mean, the margin of victory was only 40,000 after the president had been ahead by 700,000. And I think we can show that this was part of a concerted effort on the part of the Democrat Party to do this in 10 different states, because the same thing they did in Philadelphia, herd the Republicans in corrals, not let them see the ballot. They did it in Pittsburgh. They did it in Detroit. They did it in Milwaukee. They did it in Phoenix. They did it in Las Vegas. They did it in all these places where they have this Democrat, machine. And it's impossible that every one of these Democratic leaders woke up the day after the election with the same idea of not allowing Republicans to see the mail ballots and corral them into chutes, even though the law of their state requires that it be observed by a Republican and a Democrat. And forever, we've done that with absentee ballots. Second, we're about to file a lawsuit now in Michigan in which, again, hundreds of thousands of ballots were cast without any observation. A Democrat whistleblower working for the board in Detroit has come forward and has given evidence of days and days of fraud, preparation for it, backdating of votes, going into the polling place with people, showing them how to vote, taking votes of people that weren't registered and then actually going to the registrar book and registering at the time. She observed all of this. She was disgusted with it. She's a Democrat. She's come forward. She's given us an affidavit, and she's at the heart of the Democratic case that we have, which will be filed in Lansing, Michigan, which will show that well more than the margin of victory are illegal votes. And then a very extraordinary thing, somewhere around 4 or 4:30 in the morning on November 4, right after the election, 100,000 or so ballots showed up at the headquarters. The observers were leaving at that time. So the crooked Democrats in Detroit figured they could count the ballots when the observers weren't around. However, several observers remained behind, and they have given us affidavits. And the affidavits say that these 100,000 ballots that were not properly packaged. They're supposed to be packaged in a big wooden box with an inner box and a seal. They look more like this. Some that have come in earlier in the day, they look somewhat more like in boxes like this. Don't know if you can see that.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we're laid out like that, which completely destroys the secrecy of the ballot. And then all of a sudden they began counting them very quickly. And three different affiants, people who have sworn under oath, this is one of them, Andrew Cito, said that all of these votes, to the extent that he heard them being called out or he observed them, were for Joseph Biden.
Okay,
and every
and
ballot he saw had no one else on the ballot.
Just to be clear, you're talking about that occurred allegedly in Michigan? Is that where you're saying that?
Yes, I'll read you the affidavit.
No, that's
Andrew
okay. You
Cito-
don't have to read it. I just want to make clear where you were talking about. And
Oh,
and
I'm sorry. I'm talking about Andrew Cito in Michigan, in Detroit, Michigan, at the TCF Center. He was there from 9:30 in the morning. He remained behind when many other people left. At 4:30 in the morning, these shipment of absentee ballots came in. He was told that there were several vehicles outside with out-of-state license plates. They pulled up to the center at 4:30 and they unloaded many boxes of ballots.
okay,
Tens of thousands of ballots were brought in and placed on 8 long tables.
but
These
Mr. Mayor,
boxes
could I
were
ask you a
brought in from
question
the
about
rear.
the process here? Could I ask you? So you filed suit in Pennsylvania regarding the allegations of fraud that you have. Obviously, you say you're going to go to Lansing as far as this situation. I'm kind of curious, what's the timing here in which you expect to get some sort of answer? How it turns out, what kind of remedy are you looking for?
Well, in the case of both Pennsylvania and Michigan, in fact, in every state, this election is guided by the laws of the state legislature. And then it's the state legislature that has to certify the result as honest and fair. We're in a position in both Pennsylvania and Michigan where they can't possibly do that. And now we will move on to Georgia, where the same thing happened, to Wisconsin, to Nevada, where the same thing happened, to Arizona. It's very, very curious that, on Tuesday night, the president was way ahead by 800,000 votes in Pennsylvania, 5% in Michigan, 8% in Wisconsin. And by the next morning, because of things like this, votes being brought in the middle of the night, the whole thing had changed.
Well, there are people
and it happened in all these places. It
Yes.
can't be a coincidence
What,
that they decided they would exclude Republican observers in every one of these places at exactly the same time.
Okay, so in Pennsylvania, you have already filed suit regarding these allegations, correct? Do you know when you would get some sort of answer on that issue?
Well, it's up to the court, and of course, it has to be done on an expedited basis. We have to have an opportunity to call the witnesses. We have 50 of them, but their testimony is rather short, and it's all in affidavit form already. We have to make a record and then hopefully bring it to the Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court. At the same time, we'll be moving ahead in Lansing, Michigan. There's already been a private case filed in Michigan 2 days ago, similar to ours, but not as complete.
And how many states total have you made or plan to make allegations similar to this?
I would say anywhere from 8 to 10.
Okay.
All of them are states in which we have one common allegation and then different things. The common allegation is that when they started counting these new mail-in votes, they excluded Republicans from observing. They put Republicans mostly in corrals that were 20 and 30 feet away and wouldn't allow us to see most, if at all, any of the ballots.
And what kind of remedy?
What kind of things like we have these ballots that are brought in the middle of the night. We have backdated ballots.
Right.
The ballots had to end on November 3rd, according to Justice Alito. We have thousands and thousands and thousands that have been backdated, and we have witnesses for all of them.
Okay.
So we have numerous instances of fraud, but the common theme is excluding Republicans in 10 different places. And the same system was used, has to have been a common objective.
Now, if the states come back and say, yes, they were allowed to observe, or even though they were not permitted to observe as you would wish, what do you think the remedy should be? Throwing out every ballot, throwing out the ones involved with that? What would you expect a remedy to be?
First of all, the states aren't going to come back and say they weren't counted the way we wish. They weren't counted based on the law of the state. Each one of these states.
So how does it resolve itself? If they come out, if they were to say, you're absolutely right, that is what happened, and of course we know there'll be arguments against that, but if they say, yes, you're right, how do you think this resolves itself? What happens?
Well, first of all, the votes can't be certified then. The state legislature can't certify an unlawful vote count.
So the state would not certify it, and then what would happen after that?
What we would ask for what we would ask for is that you deduct in those counties the number of votes that we have proven were unlawfully examined.
Okay.
So it's easy. It's easiest in Pennsylvania because we've done the arithmetic. We can count 633,000 votes that were submitted without any observation by a neutral observer, and certainly not by a Republican.
Okay.
In Detroit,
you don't. In
Detroit,
that case, you want them thrown out. You don't want a recount. You want them thrown out.
well, there's no reason to recount them. You can no longer tell whether they're valid or not. Once you remove the envelope, you remove the only thing that tells you whether they're valid or not.
Right. That becomes the naked ballot at that point.
The naked ballot. That's why mail-in voting, even by justices of the Supreme Court 10 and 12 years ago, was thought to be a horrible thing to do.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I'm going
to fraught with fraud.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to run, but I appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you for the hearing, because a lot of people, a lot of networks don't allow us to bring this information to the public.
Well, we appreciate you talking to us, bringing us up to date.
Fascinating stuff, Rudy. Fascinating. I love it. So you got the Biden shirts from people in Michigan that were actually volunteers. They were wearing Biden shirts. You think there'd be some sort of like unofficial rule, maybe don't wear partisan politics shirts and like memorabilia, like little buttons. Maybe that's okay. Little button says Biden. I don't know. Maybe that's not even appropriate. If you're a volunteer, you should put that by the wayside. Excuse me. You should just just wear like a Nirvana Metallica shirt or something like that. That's fine, but not Biden or Trump. It's wrong. It's wrong. But more than that, you're supposed to have watchers to make sure the democratic process is going smoothly, that watch the process, that oversee the process, Democrat and Republican alike. But the Republican watchers were forced to stand back in different cities all across the country, sometimes 25 feet away, having to use binoculars, in some places 60 feet away. In others, they put up cardboard pieces of the police came, got them kicked out of the actual building, the place where the votes were being sorted, and they put up cardboard to block the view of the Republican conservative watchers. That's weird. Yes, there's 1,000 dead people are going to vote every year in an election. Yes, there's fraud every year. But if you start doing that, it's odd. There's also a rumor in Detroit at 4:30 in the morning, when the Republican watchers went home, thousands of votes came in exactly the same time. Hundreds of thousands of votes. What? Who's counting votes at 4:30 a.m.? Why would you tell watchers to go home and there are more votes being counted than bring in more votes? It seems very suspicious. And you know what? This may not be anything, but we have to let the process play out. It could be something, but it still is not enough for Trump to get over the hump. He could actually end up winning a state like Georgia in a recount, but then not having enough in Nevada or Pennsylvania. It doesn't matter if Trump wins Georgia. It doesn't matter if he wins Pennsylvania. He has to win Pennsylvania and Michigan. Wow. Can you imagine if both of them, after the recounts, after all the legal process is done, neither one of them have 270 electoral votes? I can't. I mean, then it goes to the House. Ugh, what a nightmare that is. Of course, which house does it go to? The new house or the old house? That's interesting. I don't actually know if it's the new house where the Republicans have picked up seats or the old house. Maybe the new house, they don't get sworn until next year, so it's still the old house, which isn't ideal. But the way it works is you only get one vote. There's not a multitude of votes, regardless of what state you represent. I don't know. I don't know if that's like a benefit for Trump or not. Maybe it is. I don't know. But either way, the media really should back off. Given what happened in 2016, not our president. Oh, he is a what do you call it? Like a derelict president, or not the true victor. And then everything that's happening right now, there's threats being made against people in the media. Republican senators and congressmen have a list on CNN of who's supporting Trump in his decision for the recounts and his refusal to work with the president-elect office, whatever the fuck that is. This weird, you have Biden on this like battleship with these giant screens up talking to different doctors about COVID and like how to like cure it or something. All the while, the vaccine apparently just came out as 92% effective. Congratulations, yay. No more masks eventually, hopefully, when they get enough of the vaccine around. I don't really understand it. I mean, there's not gonna be enough off the bat for everyone. What's the deal? You get the vaccine. Once it's made available, that's it. You don't actually have to get it. You don't have to use it. Things just start allowing you to go to places without masks anymore. You know, private stores, proprietors say, hey, come on in now. The vaccine's out. Is it a vaccine that protects against all versions of this virus? Has the virus mutated? Can you get it again even after the vaccine? It's how effectual is the vaccine in the long run? If you can get it again, you know what I mean? I'm just saying we don't know. We don't know. I'm just saying vaccines based off of segments of the virus, antibodies. You don't know. This one seems to be weird. There's been so many cases of people getting it again. I don't know. It frightens me. That's all I can say about it. I don't know. I just think that we should give President Trump some time. Give him some space. It's just, who cares? It's a month and a half. No big deal. Al Gore did it in 2000. No one said anything. We had 37 days. He was like midway through December we went through this thing. Who cares? Let him have his time. That's what I say. PPP fraud. PPP fraud's everywhere. You got to have PPP fraud. I mean, you gave people free money at like a risk-free rate for 30 years, free government money. All you have to do is substantiate, hey, I've been affected by COVID. You don't have to say like how much, just that you have your stores. Everyone's affected that works in retail. You can't say like even Amazon's affected. I mean, why wouldn't you be? Because the means of procurement, the sales start dropping arbitrarily, perhaps, maybe at first. Obviously, they had a great quarter. Obviously, they did well in the second quarter and killed it with numbers. But maybe from their perspective, they were worried. Maybe from their perspective, they thought, discretionary spending would be down. They don't have to pay leases. They send things through the internets. But I don't know, a lot of fraud going on. Apparently, according to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in July, compared payroll data at PPP-eligible companies to ineligible ones, estimated the program has boosted employment by about 2.3 million jobs. At that rate, the PPP would have cost about $224,000 per job supported. If I'm perspiring a little bit, I have a door open for the cat. Bring the cat with me to this place. This is my this is an apartment/office. It's like an apartment. It's a 2-bedroom apartment. I've made an office. I don't know. I kind of dig it. Like a bed and back, maybe like a little disco ball. I don't know, you get a little freaky, when you're done. If you have a tall blonde secretary or something like that. Just kidding. Anyways, yeah, so, I don't know. That was the government's fault. Can't blame anyone for that. I think it's hilarious that the government set up this program that allows you to get all this free money. All you have to do is prove that you've been affected very little by the government. Very little by COVID, and the government just gives you right to your free check. Boom, just have to make sure you keep, 77% of your payroll back. Make sure you don't fire everyone, you bring everyone back, boom, it's forgivable. Wow. But then they go after people and throw them in jail that cheated. I'd like to see hopefully a case, and I'm sure it'll happen, of someone who didn't really cheat that badly, but they're ruined their entire life all because of COVID. Yes, their business was affected, but they lied on some stuff and got more money than they should have. That's interesting. It's kind of that way of entrapment. They do that all the time, the feds do. They set up someone up where a person who normally wouldn't commit a crime is coerced into committing one. And somehow that's legal. I don't understand it. Spotify, podcast, procurer of sorts, Joe Rogan. May individualism, rest in peace. I'm just kidding. That's fine. It's not like he got the golden handcuffs or anything like that. I think he's fine. I think it's fine. I think it's blown out of the water. I think Spotify seems to have upper management that's conservative and don't mind having someone like Joe Rogan, despite some of their workers saying, hey, some of his content should be curated and edited. And they're like, go fuck yourself, go work somewhere else. I dig that. Good for him, C4. Because of how hot it is in here. Hot as balls, cat. My other cat is eaten by a coyote. I mentioned that in a previous podcast. I bring this guy with me. Fucking coyotes, I'll kill them all. AR-15. Yeah. Fucking A. Do I look like that type of guy? Wear suits and, like kind of heat. It's like, how they're shooting on both sides? The cops are on each side when they're coming out of the bank. So they're like, totally dig it. Neil McCauley. I allow no one to come at me in 30 seconds flat when I feel the heat coming around the corner. That's the discipline. It's a great character. Here they might be coming out with a prequel. I'm going off topic here, I'm just saying. Here they might be coming back with the Heat prequel. Michael Mann, best films made. Is every archetypal element that you'd possibly want in a film. So fucking good. So fucking good. Spotify. Bought Megaphone for $235 million. Back on top. Pivot. And they are, Spotify is, kind of a shitty compression algorithm for their music and their product. I've listened to a version of the Joe Rogan podcast through YouTube that was streamed initially through Orbs Orbis. Sounds like, the right-hand man to the guy in Fifth Element, the bad guy. It was streamed through Spotify and then redistributed through YouTube. Until December 31st, you have time to have both. You don't have to subscribe to Spotify. It's still on YouTube. I actually think he's going to lose a lot of viewers at first. I don't know if this is going to work out for him as much as he thinks it is. In terms of growth, I don't see someone paying for that just for Joe Rogan. People listen to Rogan because it's nice, it's relaxing, he's down to earth, he's real, doesn't cost anything. He makes all his money from ads, but it's very surreptitious. Now you have to pay for it. I don't know, man. And Google refers to Spotify, of course, Google's bias, maybe their own thing, Google Play, but they refer to their idea of their compression algorithm is lossy. That's the terminology, lossy. Tidal, Jay-Z's company, lossless. I like the AAC4, whatever it's called, by Apple Music. I think that's a good one. I think YouTube has a good algorithm for compression. But when I listen to Spotify, I think it sounds like fucking garbage. Especially like music with anything electronic in it. You can just hear it. I'm like, is that my favorite song? I don't like my favorite song anymore. Weird. What happened? Oh, I'm on Spotify. Or your friends share music with you, and it's like, get Spotify. You can't play this, you can't listen to it. Or you get like a sample of it. I'm like, I don't like Spotify. Like, what is this thing? It's weird. It's unnecessary. I just don't understand the... I created a Trump campaign playlist for fun because I heard a rumor that people were creating fake playlists on Spotify and putting them up and then creating algorithmic bots to press on it based on the keywords that are topical on Google and other places. So I did that. And in order to even listen to my own playlist I created on Spotify, I have to pay the premium. The one I curated myself, I have to pay to listen to it out of order. Why? I can go to YouTube and play any song I want, create my own playlist and have it on repeat and just have the music videos going. Yeah, it might waste more battery, but who cares? I also like sometimes YouTube can play in the background and you don't have to like watch it. I kind of dig that. That should happen more often. I think that's on YouTube Premium. I think it's only, sometimes I log in by accident and that's what happens. I think that's what happens. If they haven't done that and this is some weird glitch, it's a great glitch. Maybe consider incorporating that. Great glitch. But yeah, Ogs Vorbis, Vorbis. Dude, what is that? A horrible name, man. That's like, I don't know, man. It's like what a Spice Girl would name their kid after they have, I don't know. It's like they have a child with a band member from Blue Monday or something. I don't like bands that take names from, I shouldn't say that. Thieves Like Us I like a lot, but sometimes bands take famous band's best songs and make that their band name? Orgy. That's what it was. That's not the case. They just have a song called Blue Monday. Tell me, how do I feel? So Pope John Paul knew about sexual allegations by Theodore McCarrick, the former Archbishop of Washington, D.C., my home slice, my home skillet, my number one, my place where I laid my hat down back in the day. Washington, D.C. Not New York, but might be beating Chicago. I'm dead serious. I know, crazy. Blasphemy? I don't think so. I think D.C. might have surpassed Chicago in terms of cuisine, horology, a lot of good watch shops. I'm just kidding. No, they seem to, I don't know, it has a good aesthetic to it. I think it's right there. I think it could be there. LA is just a different sort of cat. You have to either, I don't know, you have to have like friends when you come to LA. You just have to, nope. It's so fake and it's so weird. It's like, someone's at dinner, he's a 16-year-old kid with a bunch of adults. What do you do? Oh, I started my own app. Oh, is that your girlfriend? She looks like if I brought a protractor to her face, everything would be perfect. Yeah, she's a supermodel. How old are you? 16. Oh, Ferrari outside? Yeah, that's mine. I don't like you. Go away. It's fine. It's fine. Singularities. It's fine. Totally fine. But there's just a lot of people that rent a Lambo or lease one and then live in a $1,400 a month apartment, and they're all into that. And there's some element of celebrity. They're pumping something. It's a weird way of living. It's a bizarre world. Tell that to someone in New York that's a consultant or works at a bank or a lawyer, that the way of making money in LA is so weird. It's so much more prevalent, the weird ways of making money in LA. It's so weird. You have 60-year-old men wearing Ed Hardy with sequins at a restaurant. Men wear a black suit with no shirt. And they're old men. It's just unheard of in New York, but it's there. It's LA. It's fine. It's fine. It's just beautiful. But Pope John Paul, I don't agree. You shouldn't celebrate your own image and ignore the sexual misconduct of someone, put it under the rug, just for the sake of things running smoothly under your regime. Doesn't mean that you're doing a bad job because you accuse an archbishop of sexual misconduct or that comes out during your reign. It happened before you. You protect the children. You protect the children. I don't know. Or Father Foley, Our Lady of Victory off MacArthur Boulevard. Man, I got a bad feeling. When he was playing with my balls. I don't know. Boy Scouts, Catholic Church, Boo Biden Foundation. Anyway, kids have regressed according to COVID. COVID regression syndromes. Some potty trained kids going back to their diapers. Weird, but then again.
When who was elected 4 years ago? Hillary Clinton didn't say, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right, stop the count. She didn't say, this isn't right, I'm not going for it. She didn't say any of that. So all of you, suck it up.
I understand.
Suck it up
It's rough. It's hard. It's hard. Do you really think that Trump's going to come out in December? I think it's going to be reversed. What's the fear? What is the fear? Why do you have to threaten people, threaten their jobs? Who are you? Who's supporting Trump in his decisions not to be part of the transition process right now for Biden and Kamala? Kamala. I don't know how to say her name. Well, who cares? Who gives a baker's fuck? It doesn't matter. It's just part of the thing. Al Gore did it. Let it happen. But the whining, the accusations, are conservatives burning down buildings right now? All the boarded up businesses, people thought Trump might win again, and there would be riots in the street and all that. Where is it? It's almost like they're conflating what happened in 2016 with just the conservatives in power determining whether the actual process of the electorate and the state legislature is followed properly. Judge Alito's ruling wasn't in Pennsylvania. Clearly, the governor of Pennsylvania violated those laws, counting votes after the fact, backdating votes from November 4th to the 3rd. Clearly, that happened. That's true. I'm not so clear on the new allegations of some vote counter recanting his story. It seems bizarre. He claims in one Washington Post article says that he recanted his claim, and then he says that he didn't recant it. But what's the evidence of the recant? Is there a second affidavit? I almost feel like they created that for the headline, just for public opinion to be against Trump. Because I think what could happen, what the Democrats might be fearing, is that Trump doesn't actually get 270. He doesn't actually win the thing. Biden still gets to 270, but there are serious, legitimate, substantiated, proven claims of voter interference, voter fraud by the Democrats, for the Democrats, at a large scale, plus 200 to 300, 400,000 votes all across the country. That shouldn't have happened. And at the same token, there's not a clear example of that from the conservative side. So, that would substantiate an illegitimate, claim to Biden. Or worse yet, Trump should have won, but the justices are not, at the Supreme Court level, are not going to allow a complete throwing out of votes. They think that's unfair. The segregated votes, the votes moved to the side. Some of them they're going to allow to stay, and they're just going to keep the current projected winner, Biden, in place, but then really affirm in the future. Different states can't have different rules. You can't bypass the state legislature. That's part of the electoral colleges. That's part of the Constitution. You can't do that. Sorry. It doesn't matter if this was COVID. In the future, if we ever have mail-in ballots at this level, which seems like it was a litmus test, this could have happened at any time. Mail-in ballots this is a bizarre occurrence. It's interesting how certain swing states took so long to count the ballots too, but others just had their act together. And it wasn't based off population size either. It's weird. The whole thing's weird. I just let it play out. Who cares? It's 4 years of a term. This is a month. Who cares? Inauguration's in January. Let's let it happen. Let's just play it out. I don't know. And as for kids pooping back in diapers from using toilets because of COVID, or Whoopi Goldberg not representing the Jewish community as she normally would, with great dignity and stature, I don't know. It's weird. Can't blame them though. A lot of weird shit's happened. It's okay. It's okay. You'll get back off the diaper, back on the pot. Whoopie, whoop. I don't know what maybe the liberal media will get back on the indicative nature. This indicative statements, truce, normal news. The F-35 program is over budget, not black baby shot 35 times in the face and raped by white police officer. Yeah, just a little much, man. Everything's about race, everything's about this and that, and it's like, normal stuff again? Like not, I don't know. I don't think it's healthy for this country to be so divided. Bring people together. Biden's mentioning, the United States is back in the game, back in play. What does that mean? What I think it means is the sort of isolationist America first attitude of the Trump administration is going by the wayside. Welcome back, China. Or no more tariffs. We want to outsource labor. We want to undermine the American worker, inflate the U.S. dollar, make it difficult for us to trade. We get our bonds or T-bills purchased, inflates our currency. Yeah. Interest rate problem. Yeah. No longer the Trumpism. It'll just be an ideology kind of adhered to by a select few, maybe in the ether of the Republican Party. But this is a great moment in our history where we can kind of see what's happened, the reactions, and whether they are appropriate or not. The media is really, really taking control of this election. I've never seen anything like it before in my life. They have made decisions, pushed the Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are sitting back and allowing Jake Tapper and company to just run with it. It's more powerful. It serves more of a purpose. But it instills fear and anger and hostility in people. I'm just like, it's not necessary. We don't have very much time. Just let it play out. I don't know. I don't know much to say about that one. Johnny Depp removed from the cast of Fantastic Beasts. The Beasts might be replaced by Mads Mikkelsen from Nicholas Redfern's Pusher series. I love that. And also Hannibal from ABC, NBC, or one of the major networks. Great actor, wonderful character. I love his face. It's really powerful. He was a great bad guy in the Bond series. Le Chiffre, the chef. I don't know, but it's just a really great character. Great character in his face. Just a great actor. I think he could have been replaceable too with in Eastern Promises with what's his name? I can't think of the actor, but a similar look of just like a very powerful face. But yeah, Johnny Depp's his character defamation lawsuit against the Sun has been thrown out. Of course, argued that the allegations by Amber Heard of abuse have been substantiated, and that his claim of defamations doesn't stand. And now he's been kicked out because of that, which I think is interesting, because the character defamation thing really doesn't mean that the abuse didn't occur. It just suggests that there's enough within the allegations in the initial initial court findings with Amber Heard that the Sun's claim that Johnny Depp was abusive was substantiated. Of course, in reality, based on the lawsuits and the court proceedings with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, both of them were abusive to each other. Physically, not so much. Amber more to Johnny in weird ways, like pushing the door on his foot, having him fall back, hitting him, kicking him, weird things. His don't seem to be physical abuse so much. He might be drunk or inebriated and stuff and yelling and screaming, but she always seems to have the recorder ready for that. She seems to be kind of like a borderline psycho that's decided what would be great for my career is to get a bunch of money from Johnny in a lawsuit, give it to like a battered woman's charity, which she did, and then use the media marketing power that instills to make even more money than that amount, which I think is her goal. It's weird. It's just weird to be in a relationship with someone and always have be recording stuff. Johnny Depp didn't do that to her. It's all her. It's all her setting him up without context. You don't know how things started. You're in the middle of it. They're fighting, and it's like she has it on record. It's so weird, man. I feel bad for the guy. It seems like he's just completely out of touch with himself and like what makes him happy. I don't know. Or maybe not. Maybe I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, because I don't know him. I just know that relationship probably wasn't a great idea. That choice. She's a sexy girl. She's not amazing. She seems to be attached to a lot of powerful people, though. Elon Musk and others, billionaires and such. I don't get what the deal is. Just some rumor that she's great in bed. There's a lot of girls like that are also beautiful. That are beautiful. That aren't crazy. I don't know. It doesn't seem necessary to deal with her, but he did, and he paid the price for it. If his financial situation is anything like they suggest, he needs every movie he can get like that. The mainstream ones, that's where you make your bread and butter. Ocean's 11 kickouts by George Clooney, boom, 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 and then you can do some random indie film or do something on Broadway. That's how it works. It's how the cycle goes. So we'll see. Britney Spears' conservatorship, trying to end it with her father, James Spears, says she's afraid of him. Court said, no, honey, that shaving the head thing, too fucking weird. We're going to just add someone on. Your father will have, be a co-conservator of your trust. You were in debt at one point, despite the tens of millions of dollars that she grossed and earned, I think, in net income. And then she's now has a net worth of something like 60 million, allegedly. So the conservatives are doing a good job. Yeah, I mean, must be something to do with like a house here or this there, something that's like in the ballpark of 10% of her net worth that she wants to procure. And then maybe she keeps going with some other requests and someone's like, listen, calm down. Do you want to do this? Do some more Vegas shows. Do some, just prove it, substantiate it. Don't go create the cash flow. Don't go into the nest egg. This is $3 million a year at 5% for the rest of your life. Just calm the fuck down, girl. And maybe, I don't know. It sucks. Once you prove that you're fiscally irresponsible to anyone, or you're having a bad time, you need help, you say, I need help. Your ability to determine how you use that money, unless in general in the past you've shown you've been able to, but you're in a bad point, like T. Boone Pickens, who's a billionaire who went into debt. Donald Trump, billionaire, went into debt. You can get the money from someone like, yeah, I know what you're doing. You're here. Sure, I'll be part of it. Absolutely. But someone like her, who's not an investment banker, not an oil tycoon, not someone who knows what to do about anything, just like a Midwest girl that was chosen to be this pop star that is, marginally talented at best. No offense, Brittany, but it's true. You're just a product. She's not Celine Dion. You know what I mean? You gotta be careful because it's like it can end at any time. Someone can take your place. There are gonna be too many of you. There's a whole group of fans that are like, kind of, I guess, my age, older even, that are just like there, that are there to support you. But like, if you go too crazy or too wild, you end up like Whitney Houston. Your voice goes away. You can't book things anymore. Starts dating a Bobby Brown type. Things can get crazy, and you don't want someone that's another Kevin Federline to come along and take advantage or anything like that. Who knows what she pays in child support, that guy. So I don't know. Brittany, take it easy. It's okay. We love you. We want you to be rich forever. And your father loves you, probably. I don't think he's like a Culkin who's trying to take your money from Richie Rich and Home Alone 2. I think he just doesn't want to give you a diamond-studded Ferrari, and that seems warranted because the car itself depreciates, and the diamonds, who the fuck knows? Not a great investment. I don't want to talk that much today. I had a late start today. I'm frustrated that I had a late start today. I had so much crazy stuff going on. The show is, really good so far. This show, I feel like it's been a little off, but it's just, I have so much going on, and I do apologize. I know that the election cycle is huge. It's just, life happens. I started the show 6 hours later than I normally do. A lot of going on, but I really appreciate your support. I subscribe down below. I'm going to keep doing it, keep pushing it, and keep writing and keep kicking ass and taking names and fucking bad bitches and hoes. Well, up here. All right, take care. Bye.